Imagine walking through life burdened by frustration and anger because you constantly feel the need to control everything. The weather changes unexpectedly, someone cuts you off in traffic, or a friend doesn't respond the way you hoped. Each of these situations pulls you into a cycle of irritation. But what if you could let it all go and focus only on what truly matters? That's the power of understanding the dichotomy of control, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. At its heart, this principle asks you to divide your concerns into two categories: what you can control and what you cannot. Your thoughts, actions, choices, and responses belong to you. Everything else, the opinions of others, external circumstances, the passage of time, is outside your control. When you attempt to control the uncontrollable, you invite frustration, anxiety, and anger. But when you learn to focus solely on what's within your power, you unlock an inner calm that nothing external can disturb. Think of the last time someone's words upset you. Maybe they criticized your work or dismissed your opinion. Naturally, anger bubbled up. But here's the truth. You couldn't control their behavior or thoughts, no matter how much you wanted to. What you could control was your response. You had the power to choose whether to let their words consume you or to see them as irrelevant to your inner peace. The wisdom of this principle lies in its simplicity. Imagine holding two buckets, one for the things you can control and another for what you can't. Every time you encounter a problem, mentally place it in the appropriate bucket. If it's something you can influence, focus on solving it. If not, acknowledge it and let it go. This mental exercise is liberating. It removes the weight of unnecessary stress and anger, allowing you to channel your energy into actions that align with your values. The Stoics often compared life to being an actor in a play. You control your performance, your lines, delivery, and attitude. But you don't write the script, direct the play, or control the audience's reaction. Your job is to play your role to the best of your ability, regardless of the circumstances. This perspective frees you from the need to manipulate the uncontrollable aspects of life, shifting your focus inward to what truly matters. By embracing the dichotomy of control, you'll begin to notice a profound change in your daily life. Small irritations lose their power over you. Arguments that once escalated into anger now seem insignificant. You learn to pick your battles and save your emotional energy for what truly counts. Each time you apply this principle, you're not just avoiding anger, you're building resilience, clarity, and a deeper sense of peace. So the next time something bothers you, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Choose to invest your energy where it can make a difference. With practice, this habit transforms your mindset, setting you free from unnecessary anger and frustration. You become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you've mastered the art of focusing only on what you can control. Think about the last time you reacted in the heat of the moment. Maybe it was an impulsive reply to an insult, or perhaps you slammed the door during an argument. These moments of emotional outburst can often lead to regret, and yet they feel unavoidable in the moment. But what if you could take control and replace those impulsive reactions with thoughtful responses? This is where the practice of pausing before reacting, a vital Stoic principle, comes into play. The Stoics understood that emotions are natural, but acting on them impulsively is not. They believed that between stimulus and response lies a space, a brief moment where you have the power to decide how to act. Imagine this space as your opportunity to regain control. When someone says something hurtful, Your instinct may be to lash out, but if you pause, even for a few seconds, you create room for reason to intervene. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the idea that what disturbs us is not the event itself, but our interpretation of it. When someone criticizes you, the criticism isn't what angers you. It's your interpretation that it's unfair or undeserved. In that pause, you can challenge these interpretations. You can ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this an attack on my character, or simply a reflection of their perspective? The power of pausing doesn't just apply to anger, but to all emotions that can cloud your judgment: frustration, jealousy, fear. Imagine receiving bad news, like missing out on an opportunity. Your immediate reaction might be despair or panic, but by pausing, you allow yourself to process the information rationally. Maybe missing that opportunity opens the door to something better. The pause becomes a tool for seeing the bigger picture. This principle is not about suppressing your emotions, but about managing them. Emotions can guide you, but they should never control you. Pausing gives you the chance to assess whether your reaction aligns with your values and long-term goals. Will yelling at someone help you achieve peace of mind? Will holding a grudge make you happier? Likely not. Pausing helps you choose actions that contribute to your growth rather than detracting from it. To cultivate this habit, start small. The next time you feel anger bubbling up, take a deep breath. Count to 5 before saying or doing anything. This simple act of slowing down disrupts the automatic loop of stimulus and reaction. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, allowing you to navigate challenging situations with grace and composure. By pausing before reacting, you develop the ability to rise above petty conflicts and distractions. You become someone who isn't easily provoked, someone who others admire for their calmness and clarity. This doesn't mean you're suppressing your emotions. It means you're mastering them. You're choosing to respond in a way that reflects your highest self, rather than your most impulsive one. In a world that often rewards speed and instant reactions, the ability to pause is a superpower. It sets you apart, giving you the time and space to make better decisions. Practice this, and you'll find that not only do you experience less anger and frustration, but you also gain respect, build stronger relationships, and develop a deeper sense of inner peace. Imagine a moment when someone cuts you off in traffic or interrupts you mid-sentence. Your first instinct might be irritation or anger, and it feels justified because their behavior was inconsiderate. But what if you could reframe that moment entirely? What if, instead of reacting with frustration, you could choose to remain calm and unaffected? This is where shifting your perspective on people's actions becomes a powerful tool rooted in Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This thought challenges us to look inward before passing judgment. Often, the things that annoy us in others are reflections of traits we dislike in ourselves. Recognizing this can transform how we perceive and respond to their actions. Another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy is understanding that people act based on their perceptions, emotions, and experiences, not as a personal affront to you. If someone is rude, it's not because they've targeted you, but because they're likely dealing with their own struggles, fears, or ignorance. Instead of reacting with anger, pause and consider, what might they be going through that caused this behavior? This doesn't excuse poor actions, but it allows you to replace irritation with empathy. Think of yourself as a mountain. Winds may howl around you, but they cannot move you. When you encounter someone whose actions provoke you, visualize yourself as that mountain, steady, grounded, and unmoved by external forces. By doing so, you retain your inner peace, regardless of how others behave. To practice this in your daily life, start small. The next time someone behaves rudely, take a deep breath and mentally label their behavior as "not about me." This simple act creates a space between their action and your reaction, giving you the power to choose calm over anger. With time and practice, you'll find yourself less affected by others' actions, freeing up your energy for what truly matters, your own growth and happiness. When emotions flare and anger bubbles up, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. But what if you could develop the ability to pause, breathe, and master your response, instead of letting emotions control you? This practice, rooted in Stoic philosophy, is the art of mastering your emotions, a skill that not only prevents unnecessary anger, but also fosters a life of inner peace and clarity. Imagine emotions as wild horses. Left untamed, they'll run rampant, pulling you in every direction. But when trained, they become powerful allies, taking you exactly where you need to go. The Stoics believed that while emotions are natural, they don't have to dictate our actions. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means recognizing that no matter what happens externally, your reaction is always within your control. To master your emotions, start with awareness. When anger begins to rise, notice it. Don't judge it or suppress it. Simply acknowledge it. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this emotion? Often you'll find that anger arises not from the situation itself, but from your interpretation of it. For example, if someone criticizes you, your anger might stem from feeling misunderstood or disrespected. But by pausing to reflect, you can separate their words from your reaction, realizing their opinion doesn't define your worth. Next, practice the power of the pause. When emotions surge, take a deep breath, literally. Deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, calming your mind and body. Even just a few seconds of pause can give you the clarity to choose your response rather than reacting impulsively. This simple yet profound practice puts you back in the driver's seat of your emotions. Visualization is another powerful tool. Before encountering potentially frustrating situations, visualize yourself responding calmly and thoughtfully. Picture someone yelling or behaving rudely, and in your mind, see yourself remaining composed. This mental rehearsal trains your brain to default to calmness in real-life scenarios. Finally, remind yourself that emotions are fleeting. No matter how intense your anger feels, it will pass. The Stoics often meditated on the impermanence of all things, including feelings. By grounding yourself in this truth, you can ride the wave of emotion without being swept away by it. Mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them, but about understanding them and choosing your response wisely. With practice, you'll find that moments that once triggered you lose their power, and you'll move through life with a sense of calm, strength, and resilience that few can shake. One of the most profound insights from Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should not take other people's actions personally. It's a principle that liberates you from the burden of unnecessary anger and frustration. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you stopped internalizing the behavior of others. This isn't about becoming indifferent. It's about understanding the deeper reality behind why people act the way they do. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This quote highlights that often our judgments of others are reflections of our own struggles or insecurities. By recognizing this, we can shift our perspective and approach others with empathy rather than anger. People's actions are shaped by their experiences, values, and emotions. When someone acts rudely or unfairly, it's rarely about you. It's about them. They may be dealing with stress, pain, or unresolved issues you know nothing about. Realizing this allows you to step back and avoid taking their behavior as a personal attack. Here's a practical example. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Your immediate reaction might be anger, assuming they're being deliberately inconsiderate. But what if they're rushing to a hospital or distracted by something deeply troubling? When you choose not to take their action personally, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. This principle extends to all interactions. Whether it's a critical comment from a colleague, a dismissive attitude from a stranger, or even a betrayal by someone close, remind yourself that their actions are a reflection of their inner world, not yours. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it helps you approach situations with clarity and emotional detachment. To reinforce this mindset, practice reframing situations. When faced with negativity, ask yourself, what might this person be going through? By shifting your focus from their actions to their humanity, you cultivate compassion and reduce the likelihood of anger taking hold. Lastly, recognize the power of letting go. Holding on to anger or resentment only weighs you down. By refusing to take things personally, you're not just protecting your peace, you're also reclaiming your power. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. And in that control lies your freedom. Imagine waking up every day and noticing what's right in your life instead of fixating on what's missing. This is the transformative power of gratitude, a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius advises, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Instead of yearning for a better job, appreciate the skills you've built in your current one. Instead of longing for more wealth, cherish the small joys money can't buy, like laughter with friends or a beautiful sunset. To deepen this practice, try this exercise. Every night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Be specific. For example, instead of listing my family, write, "My sister's kind words today made me feel supported." Over time, this habit rewires your brain to notice and appreciate the positives in your life, fostering a profound sense of contentment and resilience. How often have you labeled an event as a disaster, only to realize later it was a blessing in disguise? Perhaps a failed job interview led you to discover a better opportunity, or a breakup helped you find deeper self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Stoicism teaches that events are neutral. It's our interpretation that creates distress. When something happens, resist the urge to label it as good or bad. Instead, approach it with curiosity. What can I learn from this? How might this serve me in ways I can't yet see? Take the example of losing a job. While initially painful, it might push you toward pursuing a passion you've long neglected. By withholding judgment, you allow life to unfold without the burden of preconceived expectations. This practice not only reduces emotional reactivity, but also opens you to possibilities and growth. Perfectionism often masquerades as ambition, but in reality, it's a trap that breeds self-doubt and dissatisfaction. Epictetus cautioned, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Don't wish to seem knowledgeable." The Stoics understood that perfection is an illusion. Instead of striving for flawlessness, focus on effort and progress. For example, if you're learning a new skill, allow yourself to make mistakes. Each misstep is a valuable lesson that brings you closer to mastery. Here's a practical way to let go of perfectionism. Set realistic goals with room for imperfection. For instance, instead of aiming to exercise every single day, aim for consistency, even if it's 3 times a week. Celebrate small wins and view setbacks as part of the journey. Over time, you'll find that embracing imperfection not only reduces stress, but also enhances your joy in the process of growth. Emotional resilience is the art of staying calm and grounded in the face of life's inevitable storms. Imagine receiving harsh criticism. Your first instinct might be to feel hurt or defensive, but the Stoics teach us to step back and ask, is this criticism valid? If so, how can I use it to improve? If not, why let it affect me? Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When you feel overwhelmed by emotions like anger or sadness, pause and breathe. Acknowledge the emotion without judgment and explore its root cause. Is it fear of failure? Fear of rejection? Building resilience takes practice. Start by reframing challenges as opportunities to grow stronger. For example, instead of viewing a rejection as a failure, see it as a chance to refine your approach. Over time, this habit transforms how you experience adversity, enabling you to remain steady and focused no matter what life throws your way. These expanded points not only delve deeper into each principle, but also provide actionable practices to embody the wisdom of Stoicism in daily life. By applying these insights, you can navigate challenges with clarity, composure, and a renewed sense of inner peace.